begin, and then came Iwo Jima in early 1945. It was here that the full integration of mortars into U.S. infantry tactics was on display. Japanese defenders fought from an underground fortress of tunnels and bunkers, immune to much of the preliminary bombardment. As Marines advanced yard by yard across volcanic ash, mortars followed them relentlessly. Shells plunged into foxholes, collapsed tunnel exits, and broke counterattacks before they reached American lines. The Japanese, for all their courage, had no answer. Their own mortars, limited in number and ammunition, could not match the scale or coordination of American fire. Entire companies were destroyed by barrages they could neither anticipate nor counter. By the final stages of the campaign, Japanese survivors described mortar fire as more feared than airstrikes or artillery, for it was always close, always sudden and always precise. What began in the jungles of Guadalcanal had become doctrine across the Pacific. Mortars were no longer supporting actors. They were central to every U.S. assault. They shaped the tempo of battle, blunting enemy charges, breaking strongholds, and carving paths for advancing riflemen. This turning point was not just tactical but strategic. American commanders realized that portable firepower was the key to defeating an entrenched enemy across countless islands. The mortar, with its arcs of silent death, had given them that key. For the Japanese, the shock was lasting. Their doctrine of decisive infantry action had been eroded by a weapon that made bravery irrelevant. Even the most determined soldiers could not stop shells that fell from the sky, unseen and unstoppable. As the war pushed closer to Japan's home islands, this lesson would echo in every battle. The Americans had mastered the art of sudden, devastating firepower that could follow their infantry anywhere, and the mortar stood at the center of that mastery. When the echoes of battle faded across the Pacific Islands, the impact of American mortars was measured not only in shattered bunkers and silenced machine guns, but in the staggering losses inflicted on Japanese forces. On Guadalcanal, reports showed that mortar fire accounted for a significant portion of Japanese casualties during their repeated night assaults. Entire companies had been annihilated before reaching American positions. At Tarawa, mortar crews were credited with eliminating stubborn pillboxes that naval guns and bombs had failed to destroy. By Saipan, battalion-level mortar barrages became routine, breaking counterattacks before they could gather momentum. The statistics were sobering. U.S. Army and Marine Corps studies, after the war, estimated that mortars inflicted